Thank you, May, and welcome to this afternoon's call. On the call this afternoon, we have our two head coaches, Nick Saban of number 1 Alabama and Lincoln Riley of number 4 Oklahoma. Congratulations to both coaches and schools. Before we get started, media are reminded to apply for credentials and reserve hotel rooms at our media headquarters, the Renaissance Fort Lauderdale Cruise Port. Please log on to orangebowl.org and select credential application from the media drop-down tab. Alabama comes in with a record of 13-0, champions of the Southeastern Conference. This is its 10th appearance in a game hosted by the Orange Bowl, tied for third most of any school. Oklahoma comes in with a record of 12-1, champions of the Big 12 Conference. This is its 21st appearance in a game hosted by the Orange Bowl, most of any school. This year's game will be played on Saturday, December 29th at Hard Rock Stadium and televised by ESPN in prime time at 8 p.m. I'll now turn it over to the coaches for brief remarks before we open it up for questions. First, Coach Nick Saban of Alabama, which will be the home team. Coach Saban.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'd like to congratulate Coach Riley and his players at the University of Oklahoma for the great season that they had and winning the Big 12 championship, and say how very proud I am of our team for accomplishing most of the goals that we had for this season in terms of winning the SEC and winning all of our games, and that this is a great opportunity to play against a great program and a great venue at the Orange Bowl. So we're certainly looking forward and excited to have the opportunity, and it'll be a great game for a lot of great competitors.
Thanks, Coach. And now we'll turn it over to Coach Lincoln Riley of Oklahoma, the visiting team.
Yeah, certainly a game we're very excited to play. I want to congratulate Coach Saban as well on a tremendous year, not just this year, but obviously one of the great coaching careers in the history of our game. So they've obviously had a tremendous year in winning the SEC and going to be certainly a great opponent. It's been a really fun year. Really proud of our guys for fighting through and being able to find a way to win the Big 12 and get back to the Orange Bowl, where our Oklahoma has such an illustrious history at, is very special to us. So we're very much looking forward to the challenge and really appreciate the opportunity to be in the playoff again and have a chance to make another run.
Thank you, Coach. And May, you can now open it up for questions.
Sure. At this time, if you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. If you are on a speakerphone, please pick up the handset. Again, if you would like to ask a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. If you are on a speakerphone, please pick up the handset. Your first question comes from the line of Christopher Hadel with Herb FM Sports Radio. Your line is open.
This question is for Coach Saban.
Okay.
Hi, Coach. Congratulations on winning yesterday in the SEC championship game. Just talk about your team and what you like about your team yesterday, coming back from 21 points, your rival in Georgia. What did you like about seeing your team yesterday coming back?
Well, it's really the first, opportunity that we've been in that situation, and I'm not saying I was happy to be in it. We didn't execute really well at times in the game, but the perseverance that we showed, the competitive spirit to keep fighting in the game and finding a way to come back and win the game. Jalen Hurts coming in the game and doing a really good job of kind of rallying the team when Tua went out, even though Tua has been one of the outstanding players in college football all season long. It was real character check, and I was really proud of the way our players responded. I think there's a lot of lessons for us to be learned in terms of getting back to more positive execution and not putting ourselves in that position, hopefully, all the time.
And the quarterback for Oklahoma is a good baseball player. I know he's been drafted by the Athletics, but what do you think about him as a football player?
Well, I haven't watched him much. I've seen him on TV a couple times, and I think he's about as dynamic as any player I've seen all season long. got great quickness, does a good job of executing their offense, can run, can throw. They make a lot of explosive plays. They got a really good offensive scheme, and the system is something that he flourishes in.
Thanks, Coach.
Your next question comes from the line of Stewart Nando with The Athletic. Your line is open.
Nick, I was wondering if you could give us an update on what you know about Tua's injury situation coming off the game yesterday, and what his timeline would be leading into December 29th game.
I made a statement today, on the playoff show about his status. And we did an MRI on his ankle this morning. He had a high ankle sprain. We had a great medical staff here, and they scoped those things to get him to come back together a little bit quicker. It's usually about a 2-week deal. We'll reevaluate him in 2 weeks and see where he is. Very similar injury to Jalen had, which took him a couple weeks to come back as well. So that's as much as we can say about it right now, but we're hopeful that by the time we get started in practice, he'll be ready to go.
Thank you.
Your next question comes from the lines of Alex Byington with Montgomery Advertiser. Your line is open.
Nick, we saw Jalen talked about how emotional he got after the national championship game and how that affected him. But can you just speak to the ability to keep chugging along and keep working and keep fighting and to get this opportunity that he had last night? And what does that say about him as a person?
Well, I think Jalen's shown great character and resiliency as a person, shown a lot of class in the way he's handled the situation. It's kind of unprecedented in college football that someone wins like 26 games, goes 26-2 as a starter, and then all of a sudden he's not the quarterback. And where his teammates supported him, he now supported them. And was very positive in the way he did that. But the one thing that he did was he focused on getting better as a player. And I think he's made a lot of improvement as a player, and I think it showed last night in the game when he had the chance to go in and play, and it was his time, and he certainly took advantage of it. We played him a lot this year so that if this ever did happen, that he would be ready to be able to handle it in a positive way, and I can't say enough about it. I think if you wrote a movie about same building, same team, same opponent, same place. Tua took his place last year and led a comeback, and he takes Tua's place this year to a comeback in the same building, the same place against the same team. I think they would say this is too far-fetched. This wouldn't be a very good movie, but it was certainly emotional for me, and I was happy for him that he was able to do it, and Tua was very supportive of him, and we don't lose sight of and have appreciation for all that Tua has done all year long for this team as well, being one of the best players in college football.
And your opinion, I know it wasn't his best game for Tua last night, but how deserving of it is he of the Heisman Trophy if he were given an opportunity?
Well, I think he's been one of the best players in college football all year long, maybe the most productive for the time that he played, and I do think he was affected by his ankle last night. It happened early in the game, and that may have affected his performance to some degree. And I think that everybody should look at the whole body of work when they're deciding, who the best player is. But I'm always going to be for our guys. I think he's done more for our team, and I haven't even seen all these other guys play all the time. So it's tough to make a comparison, but I sure love our guy.
Thanks, Nick.
Your next question comes from the line of Jeff Snook with the Orange Bowl. Your line is open.
Riley, just there are lines out already in the game from Las Vegas, and you're a 14-point underdog. I know coaches don't pay attention to that, but can you just address the fact that you are an underdog, and not only an underdog, but a pretty big underdog, and how you do go about using that for a whole month?
We just go about our business the way that we always do. We've got a lot of respect for the team that we're getting ready to play. No question about that. But we've got a formula that we believe in, and we've got a program that's used to winning, and players that are used to winning, and we know it's going to be a great challenge. But we're gonna go prepare like we do, and our goal will be for us to be at our very best. We can't control any of the outside factors. It's for us to be at our very best. I feel like, despite some of the great things that this team's been able to accomplish this year, that our best football is still out there, and I feel like we're heading in that direction. So we'll do that, and then let it fall the way it falls.
Is my line still open?
Your line's open. May, next question.
Sure. Your next question comes from the line of David Paschal with Chattanooga Times. Your line is open.
Thank you. I'd like to ask one for each if I could. Lincoln, first for you. These two quarterbacks between now and the game are obviously going to be really busy on the awards circuit. What did you learn last year about what Baker went through, and how can that help you this time around as far as Kyler?
Yeah, no, great question. Yeah, I'd say, learned a lot here in the last several years. Been on the award circuit here for the last couple of years, been fortunate enough to be able to do that. And I think we had a plan together, last year going into the Rose Bowl, for Baker that I thought was probably better than the one we had the year before with those guys. We had, Baker and Westbrook at the Heisman the year before. So, no, you certainly learn about it. It is a little bit of a different time. There's not any other sport where you wait a month before you play again, and players, potentially gone for, a week or whatever it ends up being. So, no, I think you got to be able to manage it. You certainly want to be able to enjoy these things because they are special. They don't happen. They don't happen all the time. They take a lot of hard work to get to, but certainly got to keep the focus, as far as being the game and understanding, what's in front of them and what can we do to prepare them. So, yeah, I think we've got a good plan. We've worked through it some, something we'll talk more about here, and have Kyler and the rest of our guys ready to go.
And Nick, what I wanted to ask you is, last year, between the end of the regular season and the bowl game, you were able to get some linebackers healthy, and you looked noticeably better against Clemson on defense than you did against Auburn. In addition to Tua's health, what are some things you're hoping to accomplish? I know you're kind of taking a couple of weeks away, but how would you like to see this team get better between now and the bowl?
Well, I don't think we finished the season as well as we started. I don't know if our team's a little bit tired mentally and physically, and you always want your team to be playing their best at the end, and I certainly think that we're capable of playing better, and I think we want to focus on learning lessons from some of the things that happened to us in the game last night, as well as two previous games where I thought we could have played a little better with a little more consistency. So hopefully we'll learn from those lessons and be able to make some improvements and get some guys healthy and hopefully play better.
Thank you both.
Your next question comes from the line of Cecil Hurt with Tuscaloosa News. Your line is open.
Thank you. For Coach Saban, Coach, did you have a preference on the Orange Bowl or the Cotton Bowl, and if so, did the committee ask you about any preference you might have had?
No, I don't have anything to say and the committee doesn't ask me anything. So I didn't have a preference at all. I knew that we would be playing a good team in a first-class venue wherever we played, and we're certainly playing a good team, and we're playing in a first-class venue. So, no, but I had no input on any of that, and I'm excited about the challenge that we have and the place that we're going to play it.
Thank you, Coach.
Your next question comes from the line of Matt Zenitz with Al.com. Your line is open.
Hey, this question's for Coach Riley. Coach Riley, I just wanted to see if you had any update on Marquise Brown as far as his injury, and wanted to see if you guys have a feel at this point for whether he should be available for the game.
Yeah, I've talked about it a little bit on the show. I don't know yet. We've done a few preliminary tests that we did yesterday afternoon, did a few more this morning. Going to meet with the doctors in the next couple of days and see where we're at. I mean, it was certainly a significant enough injury that, there was no way he was going to be able to return in the game. The extent of that is still a little bit unknown, but we've got a great medical team, and we'll fight hard to try to get him back. And if we can, that's certainly great. He's a dynamic player, but if he doesn't, I think we were able to show yesterday that we've got guys that are more than capable of stepping in and making the big plays that we've come to expect from Marquise.
Thank you.
I will give the call back to Mr. Larry Wall.
Thank you, May, and appreciate everybody for being on today, especially Coach Saban and Coach Riley. We're excited to host this college football playoff semifinal featuring the two highest-scoring teams in the country. I want to remind you that for credentials and hotel reservations, please log on to orangebowl.org and select the credential application from the media drop-down tab. And now, just want to turn it back to May, and we'll end the call today. Again, thanks, Coach Saban and Coach Riley.
Thank you.
May?